tired. He's taken on casualties. He's spent ammunition. He now has prisoners. He is now combat ineffective. And so all he can do is plop himself down on this field and camp here for the night. Now Wallace is in retreat. He's got to evacuate with his men just as well. And he's worried. He is gravely concerned. Why? You guys remember what happened to him at Shiloh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got blamed for that, right? He's probably going to get blamed for this too. So Wallace has something to say about this battle, just like Gordon does. Wallace is going to come out I assure you it's in here somewhere. Go. Wallace comes out in his official report, and he's going to make things very, very clear to those who read it. I just read a letter from him the other day where he goes after some newspaper reporter for not getting it right. So in his official report, he says, for their reputation, troops, and for the truth's sake, I wish it distinctly understood that though the appearance of the enemies of fourth line of battle made their ultimate defeat certain, they were not whipped. On the contrary, they were fighting steadily in an unbroken front when I ordered their retirement. All of the shame there was, if shame there is mine and not theirs. So he's getting out in front of it. He's accepting responsibility right away. But here's the clincher. This is what Lew Wallace says at the end of his report. He says that the word of Monacacy cannot be a word of shame, for these men fought and died to save the national capital, and they did save it. Wallace is so proud of this fact that he thinks a monument should be built on this ground that says exactly that. And they never build it. I don't know why, they just don't. We've got 5 monuments on this battlefield, not one of them say that. But here's the thing. Remember that window I told you to stare at before we left? Well, Wallace, he has an ace in his pocket that he does not know about. And that is this little guy right here. His name is Glenn Worthington. Obviously, he's a civilian because he's only 6. And he has been watching this entire fight since McCausland occupied his front lawn. Tried to make that attempt at Ricketts' men and got mowed down more than once. Worthington, little Glenn, he is watching as John Brown Gordon occupy his front yard and chases him this way, all the way down and across the river, and then some. The Confederate pursuit doesn't, the battle's over by 5:30. The Confederates pursue them till 7:30. So that's another 2 hours. And Glenn will remember everything he saw. And Glenn will grow up, you know, like you do, and he goes to law school. He becomes a lawyer and eventually a judge. He's a very, very prominent man here in Frederick County. And Glenn Worthington is going to try to convince the federal government to preserve this land, and he is instrumental in the reason that this park is here in the first place. So no, there isn't a monument that says these men fought and died to save Washington. You know why? Because it would be in the parking lot of a Chick-fil-A. This is the monument. The hallowed ground that you are standing on, the epicenter of the fighting that was so severe that it made the river run blood for more than 100 yards. That's the length of a football field. I mean, I think. I surfed. I didn't play football. But I think that's about as long as it is. I mean, that's how we were taught in the Army to judge distance. Well, how many football fields? I don't know. This is the battle that determines the outcome of the war. Because up until this point, well, it could have went either way. And if Lew Wallace didn't do what he did, it probably would have gone the other way. Early is up early the next morning. It's a long, hot, dusty march to D.C. He doesn't have use of 270, and even if he did, it would probably take him longer. When he gets there, he can't get in. Grant has overnight reinforced those forts, and he cannot get in. He probes around for a little while, but really to no avail. In fact, not only is he not scared out of his britches, because that's what Early says to his aide, that we may not have taken Washington, but we scared Abe Lincoln out of his britches. But hey, spoiler alert, he is reelected. He is reelected. Not only is he reelected, but during the Battle of Fort Stevens, and I'll let Fort Stevens tell you that story, but during the Battle of Fort Stevens, well, he's there watching the whole thing. He's not scared at all. The problem was he was 6 deuce and a little bit too tall for the parapet. And so when he sticks his head up there to see what's going on, somebody, we don't know who, but somebody yelled at him, said, "Get down, you old fool. We don't want you to get shot in the head." So ladies and gentlemen, again, this is the battle that really does. I don't care what they tell you at Gettysburg or what they tell you at Vicksburg or Mobile Bay or any one of those places. This is the battle that helps determine the outcome of the war. On this fight, some amateur soldiers went up against some battle-hardened Confederates and put up at least a stiff enough resistance and enough time so that Grant could send reinforcements. Did they ultimately retreat? Sure. Did they lose the battle? Tactically? Sure. But did they lose ultimately? Absolutely not. And that's why this is hallowed ground, because of those men that gave that ultimate sacrifice for that national capital, but not just the city itself, for the nation we know today. So I want to thank you for coming along and putting up with the heat. I will be around here in the shade. If you have any questions at all, I do not discuss religion, politics, or sports, but anything else is fair game. So.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, good job.